let's talk about a little bit of your career and everything. So like you've been producing, programming, teaching, like everything there, right? And like what like you think, you know, how everything starts with like the TVO, the LTV, how does that like kind of help you, how you help that, but also like how that like help you to go into that part of like the teaching part and everything. It's three things, right? Like basically like producing, programming, and like teaching, like how they are like integrated.
Well, it's very interesting because when I graduated from school, I wanted to be a journalist. I didn't want to be in television, but my first job was kind of more writing and journalism focused at TVO. But while I was at TVO, producer jobs came up, and I found out that I had a knack for working on production as well as journalism. Plus, journalism was kind of, you know, how things are now with journalists. There weren't as many jobs, and TV was booming. So I ended up working in television. And when I first knew I really loved films, and this is an interesting story, I was watching Citizen Kane. I joined the Western, I went to University of Western, Ontario, and I joined the Western Film Club. And we started watching old black and white movies. And I hadn't seen a lot of these movies because we didn't have access to movies like we do now. And I saw Citizen Kane. And that was like, that was it for me. And then I wanted to see it again and again, and I learned from it. And I just watched it, and I learned from the cinematography. I learned to love black and white too. That's another thing. I look for black and white films for the festival that are well done because I still love black and white as a medium. But so that's how I started out. And then I worked at TVO for it was maybe 8.5 years. And I was working as what we call a project officer, I think, which is a producer. So I ended up working and launching what we called home studies. So it was programming that was designed to go with learning materials.
So talking about like a TVO and like you know, like teaching, and for instance, I love the TVO like documentaries that like they produce, and even like now, like you know, I see like how everything changed, right? Like I don't have like cable TV anymore for years, decades now, like to tell the truth.
Yeah.
But I still watch TVO like documentaries on YouTube and everything.
Okay.
How do you think like this shift, you know, like will be for like you know, this next generation, and how that like educate people as well in the same time, right? Because like you can learn about like a city, like you know, a town, like in, you know, in Ontario or like in other parts of Canada. How do you think like that works?
I think honestly, television, the broadcast medium, is going to be gone in probably 10 years because if you talk to anyone from the younger generations, nobody has cable TV anymore. It was a great medium. It had its time. So now the process, everybody's shifting over to online in whatever form. Like CBC has CBC Gem, TVO has their online library. So eventually, everybody will just be moving online. It's just the way the medium's going. TV now, like once you've worked and once you've watched shows online, you see how clunky broadcast is. You just compare Crave. I have Crave, but I use the online. I actually have cable still because I'm in the industry. I still support. I don't watch anything much. Every so often I watch like hockey games and mainly event-based TV. But yeah, if you watch the two versions, it's just not versatile anymore. It's kind of in the same way that we read newspapers online because you look at the election results for the Globe and Mail and they don't have all the information in the morning, but you go online, it's all there. So I think, you know, eventually cable TV, cord cutting is increasing. since the pandemic especially, a lot more people are cord cutting.
Yeah, I think like the on-demand thing, like literally
yeah.
you are like on, doesn't matter if it's on Crave like or YouTube or whatever like a platform you're using, like you, I want to watch this now and I think that's like the thing that like is
It's
driving
huge.
everything. And like just like for that like topic that we were talking, like so we talk about like a CBC and like a TVO, like they're like literally are two Canadian broadcasters, like literally like have a lot of like amazing content, right? Like and like we've been seeing that like maybe you know you not have like some of them like you not have like the funds that they used to have. Doesn't matter if because of like the advertising that's not coming directly to them and like they are getting the cents from like a YouTube streaming or like other platforms, or like not even like a government like a kind of a help or grants. Like how do you see like those like type of broadcasting like let's say companies like surviving?
Well, they'll survive. I mean, CBC is certainly guaranteed funding at least for another 4 years. So they will survive, and they will survive as a broadcast medium longer than probably most private channels because they have a mandate to reach everybody in Canada, and there's certain areas of Canada that still need to watch TV. So I think they'll survive. I mean, CBC has CBC Gem, so most of their prime content is online. It's available online. The services are becoming available online. Same with TVO. So eventually, like they will migrate over, and that will happen.
So
and it's going to happen fast.
Do you think the content will not like be jeopardized or something?
It's a good question because content right now, the industry is in a downturn, unfortunately. So although there's TV shows being made and there's people working, there's less work in Canada. This is influenced also by in the U.S. there's less work. So that goes without saying. But there's still going to be work. I mean, there's still series being made, and I think the changes now, and I think the biggest problem we have is keeping copyright of our programming in Canada and not allowing the streamers. Because what they want to do is come into Canada and they want to own the programming so they can put the programming anywhere they want. Whereas the Canadian model is to keep the rights in Canada, sell the rights internationally, make the money and be able to create the show, but the producer is still owning the rights so that you can build production companies that are successful. That's the model that we have here. And that's unfortunately a model that is dissipating in other countries like the UK and Britain. They've got an independent industry for sure, but a lot of the content is owned by US broadcasters and partners. So that's hard to say what's going to happen, but I think that's what Bill C-11 is about, right? Is keeping the content here. So we're working on that. It's as Canadians right now. I think Canadians are very focused on keeping things Canadian. I know for the festival where we've got a brand new Canadian pass, just Canadian programming, and we're shifting. We had a sellout for our National Canadian Film Day event.
That's amazing.